So, Nordax has dropped this info right here, which is the next units for the limited period Granny Cat's hiding place. I have right here the ones that are active right now, but let's talk real quick about the new ones and then who you should purchase, or if you should decide to purchase someone that is already currently in, or if you have coins, right? If you've been saving for the third round, waiting for who it's gonna be, maybe you want to pick up someone from the round that we currently have. But starts on the 29th, today is the 27th of August, 27th, and of course it is a reset, so my time, English time, it's 4 p.m, but in America I think it's like 9 a.m, something like that. It's the usual data update. So these are the units: Jiraiya, Sage Naruto, Izuna, Deidara, and Kushin. If you recall, before the anniversary I made this video, which was kind of a list of units you should pick from this, from these coins if they ever pop in. Now, this was the best ones, in my opinion, and we already have had Shikamaru, and Rock Lee is currently in, and I would say, and I 100% would say, if you have coins waiting because you were waiting to see who were the third round, I would say Rock Lee is your best bet. Rock Lee, I'll give you a few examples. He can solo Ninja Road because he stacks damage reduction. If you ever run into a situation where you have difficulty with Ninja Road, he can solo it. Rock Lee can be relevant on PvP if they ever bring the extra damage on critical rule again, depending on luck, right? So having more copies of him would be nice. I don't think they will bring it back. I actually wouldn't like for them to bring it back. I think it would be very bad. But if they do, if it happens, that's a thing. Any of these other units, except for Shikamaru, which right now you can't buy anymore, they are not going to be good on PvP at all. All of them are irrelevant on PvP. So keep that in mind. Going back here, the other units that are from this list, the only one in the go for them is just Sage Naruto. Of course, he already have been in the first rotation. Sasori already, he was in the first rotation, right? I'm pretty sure. Jugo didn't pop, or was he in the first rotation? I don't remember. I don't recall Jugo showing up, which is interesting. But if he was in the first rotation, I'm sorry, I just don't remember. But yeah, so I would say that in this round right here, it's between Sage Naruto and Izuna. Sage Naruto being such an old unit, I would assume a lot of people that have been playing for like a few months already have him max duped, because this unit is from April of 2017. And somehow he is still relevant. But he's still really good. So one of the reasons why he's so good is because he did get boosted, and he is an attack reduction unit on his normal jutsu, and also a big AoE unit on his ultimate. He annihilates wisdom, and because he's under 28, he was the king of under 28, the best one in Samurai Hashirama, but he is one of the best units for under 28 in the game, just for clearing events like impacts and emergency missions that you may have difficulty with. So I would say, if you don't have him max duped, maybe grabbing a copy of him is good, but honestly, Izuna is also really good. He is really good. Like, the thing about Izuna is that his normal jutsu does something that I don't think any other people do, which is all enemies in range, and they receive increased damage by non-effective elemental affinities by 20% for 4 turns, and that he has resets for 40%. So he can stack that. The stacking is up until 50 though. So he can stack that on multiple people. And that is kind of like a KCM Naruto ability. If you don't have KCM Naruto, he's a good substitute for that. And he does hit pretty hard. I recall him hitting 100k on Bravery, on his ultimate. If you have double Hashirama, that is. But that's still a good number. That's still a very, very good number. He's a pretty good hard hitting unit. And he goes under 28 if you max dupe him. So he's also a very, very viable option. Other than that, I mean, the dodge is really nice, for sure. Oh yeah, I say 4 turns, but he does have an ability that increases by 2, so it's actually 6 turns, which is really, really good. So Izuna, the thing is, Sage Naruto, I would still say he's better, just because overall, having an AoE ultimate can clear ads better than having like a normal jutsu that is AoE, and he does have attack weakening on normal jutsu, and if you know, man, attack weakening is a huge deal. 80% and his is pretty good. It's like, I think it's 30%. So he is really good with his attack weakenings for like difficult bosses. So he is still, I would say, the better pick. But because he's so old, I feel like people should have a few copies of him. And if you don't have Izuna at all, you might want to go for him. Like if you have a few copies of Naruto but you don't have any Izunas at all, you might want to go for him. But talking about the other units, all the other units are Jiraiya. Jiraiya is awful, don't go for him. Like he got his air break soon and he's interesting, he stacks barrier, he's a fun unit. But he's not going to be practical. Not having a normal jutsu that does damage is really bad for him. Not very practical. So I would say he's a no-no. Daedra. Daedra is actually also pretty good. But at the same time, I see no reason why you'd pick him above Naruto or Izuna. Just because his ultimate is an all. And then has a 50% to the jutsu ceiling. Jutsu ceiling is pretty much useless. Nowadays, units just all enemies pretty much just ignore being jutsu sealed. Same thing for normal jutsu, and that's pretty much all he does. I see no reason to pick him over Naruto or Izuna, and yeah, he doesn't have anything extra. He's just that. It's just jutsu seals on AoE, and that's pretty much it. He has nothing like really incredible. I mean, he has dodge, but so does Izuna. He has 20%, also 15 if he does Synchro with Uchiha, so I mean, Daedra, he's okay. He's good. He's better than Kushina. Kushina is one of the biggest disappointments I had, because Kushina, for the longest time, she never had a good unit. I mean, this unit is pretty good. This Phantom Castle is pretty good for a free-to-play unit, but she's like never like really good unit. And Kushina is one of my favorite characters, just because she's pretty hot. But and then this normal banner came out, and I thought that she was gonna be busted because normal banners had been in a good track record. Like they had just had Sasori, and then we've had these two right here. Like normal banners had been in a very good record of like how good they have been. And then Kushina increased damage against skill by 20 with 2 abilities. My guy, come on. Switches enemy to skill for 2 turns. Sure, so she can't even use her own ultimate in the enemy. Like, the ultimate increases damage by 10% for 2 turns. For 1 enemy in range, it's just... I would not recommend picking her at all. She's a big disappointment. The only thing that she can do is just switch the enemy to skill, which other units already do. And Omoi does that, he's free to play. It's only for 2 turns, which is just not very good. And she's single target, right? Yeah, she's single target, almost AoE. She changes AoE skill. Not a big hitbox, but still AoE. So Kushina is a no-no for me. And then Daedra, again. But Rock Lee, going back on the units that are currently available. Rock Lee, big boy. The reason why he's so good, and I'll bring up the calculator, because I don't recall ever bringing the calculator for this, but the critical hit chance that every character has in this game is a 2.5%. 2.5% chance. So Rock Lee boosts their critical rate chance by 2.5 times 2.5. Then he boosts it again by times 2.5, and that adds up. That doesn't go like 2.5 plus the 2.5 times 2.5. No, that adds up. It's 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and then he does it by 3. So that makes him have a 46% chance of critical hitting. Now, if you put a unit behind him that boosts critical hit by 2.5 times, that's simple math, 100%, over 100% chance of critical hitting. He will always critical hit, so his damage is pretty influxed, and he's really good. He's really good. He's one of the best under 20 units in the game. He does, of course, stack damage reduction as well, and that stacking of damage reduction can be used even on regular raids. 5 turns, you can use his normal jutsu, stack damage reduction, give him some ultra combos, and keep stacking it. And like in the main boss at the end, you can just have a Rock Lee for 100% damage reduction. And then the ultimate does hit decently hard, because if you get the guaranteed crit, he's gonna be hitting pretty hard. It's like 50k neutral or something like that. Like it's really good. It's really good. Rock Lee is really good for PvE. So again, if you've been saving coins for this batch right here, none of these units should be as good as Rock Lee or as useful. And when I think of these units that you buy on the coins, I think, how useful will they be on my box, right? Because if you look at all these other units, like Yuget's always okay, She's not gonna be very good on much of the stuff, right? Obito is good, but he's not gonna be useful in most of the activities. Gaara is good. He's gonna be more useful than Yugito and Obito for sure, but not as useful as Rock Lee. And Sugetsu, he's also pretty good, more useful than Yugito and Obito, but not as good as Gaara or Rock Lee. So Rock Lee still stands at the top of the chain, 100%. Now again, if you already have Rock Lee maxed, Izuna, if you have Izuna maxed, Naruto, if you already have Naruto maxed, Deidara, if you already have Deidara maxed, I guess Kushina. I mean, you can go for 99 Lux as well, I guess, but that's pretty much it. Next batch, these are the 2 best units. That's all you need to know. But if you still have coins remaining, Rock Lee. Yeah, pretty much.